Hi everyone, I am Anonymous Traveler. During the last lecture regarding Kali Yuga Survival Strategy, I discussed disengage, and also I mentioned that the last D is detached. But before we move on to the last D, detached, I have to expand further on an important aspect of Kali Yuga that most people ignore. I had several good experiences this week because of my uncle. Basically, he's on the verge of death at this point, so I visited him 2 times. And as of today, he is still alive, but he came close on multiple occasions. One of the most fortunate experiences of life is experiencing the death, whether it's from your own near-death experience or from the observation of someone else's death. People think observing death or contemplating on death is morbid. However, death is a great teacher or even divine messenger that teaches us and guides us. Generally speaking, when you observing someone on the verge of death, you can learn 2 things. First one is an easier teaching. That is, life is always too short and we don't have much time. We are continuously drunken with the various sensory inputs and the psychic noises of this world and keep forgetting about our mortality. Everyone knows we have to die someday, but that knowledge is always abstract and something far away. However, when one experiences death in the gut level, it brings up the sense of urgency and energy. And we can obtain such a sense of urgency if we pay attention on someone's moment of death. Another teaching aspect of death requires a reasonably high development of one's mental faculty. That is, the observation of one's thirst or clinging before death on an energy level. Some of heart attack survivors said that right after the heart attack, they have seen their life projecting on the screen from start to finish like a biography film. Some say they saw an angel came down on their side to take them to heaven. I don't dispute their claim. Actually, I have to say, from their perspective, that was a real event. The moment of death is not an end. It is a moment of a new beginning which decides your future manifestation, whether it be a human, or an angel, or a god, or whatever form of existence. The last moment of your yearning, or longing, or clinging determines your next manifestation. And when your mind is developed enough to cut through the facade or fabrics of this illusionary world made of electric impulse or current, you can see the next manifestation creating process of such dying being. And I spent some time with my uncle and observed his remaking of future manifestation. I realized that even on the verge of death, he is still in denial of his death. His breathing stopped on several occasions. He had tracheostomy and he has to communicate by writing whatever he wants to communicate on the paper because he cannot talk verbally. He was still angry about some petty dispute with somebody else and cursing that person with limited communication capacity. He was still yearning for his favorite food and was complaining that he had no access to that food. He was still thinking another medication from another hospital would make his problem go away and he will be able to do all those things he's longing, such as eating his favorite food, etc. His mind was moving like an electric current, creating magnetic field that was ready to jump into the next manifestation when he dies. In such a dire moment that decided his future, he was still clinging around such petty things and wasting his chance of higher manifestation. Some might wonder, hey, anonymous traveler, if that person comes back exactly into the same situation as he was in this life with the same kind of a clinging and same kind of attachment, does it mean that he will have the same amount of pleasure and pain as his previous life? So, if you consider it as a kind of a business deal, should we consider it even? Some might even say the repetition of the same amount of pleasure and pain sounds not so bad. That appears to be a somewhat reasonable question, but the reality is something entirely different. You do not repeat the same amount of pleasure and pain in this time of Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga that we are currently living in is a time of deterioration and collapsing. In the lifespan of the universe itself, it has to go through the process of aging, deterioration, sickness, and death. The universe itself is a gigantic sum of craving and yearning, and it will eventually manifest itself again in the form of a Big Bang. However, we are in the cycle of Kali Yuga. During this time, the amount of suffering and pain increases, and the higher impulses or heroic impulse in man decreases. As if a human being has to go through increasing amount of physical limitation and discomfort in his old age, the universe in Kali Yuga goes through more discomfort and suffering than the previous ages. Another thing we need to think about is Kali Yuga is always coincide with the explosion of the number of human beings. Explosion of a human population has two meanings. When one plane of existence sees its number of inhabitants increasing, that means the number of inhabitants is decreasing in other planes of existence. What is going on with the explosion of a human population is beings from higher planes of existence have been reborn or reincarnated in our plane of existence in large numbers. On a perspective of spiritual development, taking a birth in our plane of existence is good because this plane of existence has both of pain and pleasure in almost all the aspects of life. In higher plane of existence, the amount of pain is too little and there is very little things to motivate someone to question things and begin spiritual practice. In lower plane of existence, the amount of pain is too much and there is very little time to do anything than experiencing suffering. So, we are in a unique position to practice spiritually. But in Kali Yuga, most human beings do not have higher impulse or heroic impulse. In Kali Yuga, this plane of existence lost a great deal of its value as a unique plane that is a perfect place for practice. It used to be, but no longer. As of now, pursuing genuine spiritual practice is very difficult and it requires heroic effort to make any serious breakthrough. By the way, if someone gains a cosmic vision or gnosis and sees this universe as a whole, it is ailing. It's like important body parts and organs are losing enough supply of oxygen and nutrient, and such oxygen and nutrient are going into other part of the body in a large quantity. That other part is our plane of existence, and it has been manipulated by demiurge to create more devious and excruciating pain and suffering upon man. So, as a universe, as a whole, our current time shows clear signs of ailing. Another problem is exploding population of this plane of existence means the paradigm shift for demiurge and his archons. Instead of his previous strategy, which is going for quantity, now he is aiming for the quality of pain. This is a terrible situation for us humans. As time goes by, and as we die and rebirth in this plane of existence, the suffering we have to endure during the one's lifespan increases, and the quality of pain itself became more excruciating. So, getting reincarnated blindly is not exactly getting even. We are on the downward spiral cycle of existence. And I was able to observe my uncle's downward spiral process for more unfortunate rebirths or reincarnation. The most important thing in life is how to die. To die well is to live a successful life. Even when one is a highly developed individual, he could face a very unfortunate reincarnation based on the mindscape of the dying moment. The final moment's energy movement determines the next manifestation. That is why I always stress the importance of meditation. Simple contemplation or thinking is not the same as meditation. In Kali Yuga, serious meditation practice requires heroic impulse in man. So, I will discuss my own approach to meditation in the future as well. Thanks for listening and all the best.